Hey, stop what you're doing. You're listening to Through Imperialized, a podcast far, far away. My name is Brain Ledbetter, and I'm your host.
And I'm your co-host, Jackson Daleen.
Jackson, how are you?
I'm good.
Did I catch you off guard there?
Caught a little off guard. I thought you were just talking to me, and I was just like, hey. That's funny.
Well, welcome to this week's main show. If you didn't know, this past Saturday we released an episode of our conversation of... we're not talking about the podcast. Our conversation of the Phantom Menace. Yeah, our conversation of the Phantom Menace with my girlfriend, Emma Ahern. We talked to her, and she just raved about Jar Jar the whole time. So if you want to hear that for 2 hours, be my guest. That's on our other show on this podcast feed called Imperial Cantina, where we kind of sit down with one guest a week and talk about Star Wars one movie at a time. But I think that's all the housekeeping. Jackson, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I think all of the Star Wars stuff that happened to me this last week is all of the news stuff that came out this last week. That's kind of all I've been around. I've been working a lot.
Yeah.
So that's about it. I watched Phantom Menace. That was about it for, our special.
Been kind of a slow week for me, Star Wars wise too. I don't think I've really watched or read anything. I've been watching some like old YouTube reviews from like the Force Awakens era.
Nice.
Just because I need a little dose of when people were semi-positive about Star Wars.
When people didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, I miss those days. And like the days where like you could sit and speculate about what would happen in episode 8 for like 3 hours.
Just talk theories and theories and theories. Yeah, those were the fun times. I remember that.
Yeah. Last week we got kind of unlucky because we dropped an episode like the day before all the news came out.
We called it too. We literally called it.
Every time it's a slow news week, we're like, you know what? I bet tomorrow all the news for the week is going to drop. And it does every time. But this is a very packed news week. We got our rundown's got like 4 pages. It's kind of hefty in my hand here. But Jackson, what's our first news story?
So a lot of the news stuff is kind of bounty hunter related. At least a lot of the news I got was bounty hunter related. This one, and this is kind of also one of my favorite ones. Dirge was announced to be in the new Boba Fett comic line, War of the Bounty Hunters. That is going to be a cross comic storyline, and B, he's now canon. He's now canon for being in this comic line. So he's going to be appearing in Dr. Aphra number 11, which will be on sale June 30th. And the cover was just revealed, but this is also following the War of the Bounty Hunters, which is supposed to jump between Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, and who was the last one? Oh, maybe that was just Santa Staros. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, the cover looks pretty cool. It's Dr. Aphra and, what was her name? It is Santa Staros. Yeah, it's Santa Staros. And in the Dr. Aphra comic, I see now. Yeah. It's them discovering Dirge while being sent on a mission from Dominia Tag of the Tag Dynasty. I think this is pretty cool. For those of you who don't know who Dirge is, I've talked about him before on an episode, but he is, his first appearance is from the, Genndy Tartakovsky, Clone Wars, 2003 Clone Wars, where he shows up and fights Obi-Wan. It's a really cool scene, but he's a bounty hunter. He's like this tentacle, he's this shapeless tentacle monster who conceals himself in this body of armor. And he's just this ruthless killing, mindless killing. He's like the Predator. But he's, just this bounty hunter. So he's cool. I think
I haven't seen the 03 Clone Wars since 2015. So I remember nothing about them.
He's not even really in it.
I think he's in a scene or something.
He's in a scene. Yeah. He's in a scene where you first meet him. And then he's in his scene where he does this cool stuff. And it's this whole fight he has with Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan's troops. But yeah, I think this would be really cool if they brought Dirge into live action.
That would be cool.
Maybe in Book of Boba Fett or some kind of
in Book of Boba Fett. That's what I think
that'd be awesome. That'd be so cool because it's like it'd be creative enough that like I bet you that if they fought, like that would be such a cool looking fight.
And that would give the fans like another Luke Skywalker moment of like, it's Dirge.
Yeah, yeah. On top of Boba Fett doing cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that characters like Dirge, they tend to not really work when you make them, because a lot of the characters that were created back then weren't created in the context of what we know as canon now.
Yeah.
So a lot of those kind of characters, like especially all the Legends characters, can kind of come off as a little too bizarre and out there and kind of bonkers, kind of like Dirge. But I think Dirge would actually work really well in something like a Book of Boba Fett. You know, compared to a character like that I don't really care for, Dash Rendar. Like someone like that, I'm not really like, he doesn't need to be in the new canon. There are characters from the Legends stuff that I don't really need them in the canon, but I think Dirge would be a great addition, especially if we saw him in live action somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I think another character too would be Dr. Aphra. To see Dr. Aphra in live action, I think would be cool because she's been around forever. You know that it's probably about time that she'll.
I think she pretty much launched with like the new canon.
With new canon comics. Yeah, because she's in those 2015 Vader comics.
Yeah.
And she's in like a couple issues of those, and so that's cool. What do we have next?
The Kenobi series just added a crew member. They added Todd Chernowski as the production designer, and he was on the crew for The Last Jedi. I believe he was a supervising art director. So he knows the Star Wars universe. He kind of knows what goes into designing the Star Wars world, which is really good. I'm glad they have someone who's a little experienced. He's worked on some Star Trek stuff. He worked on Pet Sematary. So it'll be cool to see how they can make this whole story of, Obi-Wan and Vader, how they can make it feel like the prequels. I mean, production design wise, feel like the prequels and the original trilogy and kind of like a meeting of the roads.
I think it'll be cool too to have a set designer who I'm thinking specifically, H2 and Luke's island and his home and kind of the set designing and the little trinkets and the stuff that they like built this backstory of Luke living here. It'd be cool to kind of show that in Kenobi with just, creative set designing, throwbacks and callbacks to things, in the set,
Yeah. And how, the prequels, everything kind of felt a little more shiny and new and like not as lived in. In the original trilogy, everything's super worn and lived in. I want to see a mixture of that for Kenobi. Let us feel that prequel nostalgia of some sets that are a little more kind of newer feeling and not as worn down, mixed with that original trilogy feel. So I think that could be cool. But it looks like Book of Boba Fett is still shooting. They'll be done in about April, I believe, because they've been shooting since late November. So they've been shooting for a while. And then cool. Kenobi is going to be shooting starting around April. I think it's been reported. So, are we going to see Kenobi this year? Or you think we're getting it pushed back? Because April's kind of late.
Well, I guess it depends with how fast they can just churn out stuff, especially with the volume, with each series being, and like each series being shorter too, because Kenobi's what?
They haven't confirmed anything, but everyone's speculating it'll be around 6. It'll be as many as 6 episodes.
That's what I heard too.
But they're going to be like meaty hour-long episodes.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett's only 4 too. So
yeah, and they've been shooting for going on 6 months.
Yeah, that's true. So those are going to be beefy episodes too.
Yeah,
mini movies.
Yeah,
yay!
They're not even mini movies. If you watch them all together, they'd be like a 6-hour movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I bet you if they did pull it up this year, they would probably kind of churn it. I don't necessarily want them to do that. So I could also say like an early next year. Yeah,
I just think with everything happening, I mean, Disney / Lucasfilm has been pretty good about, once they announce a relative date. They're pretty good at sticking to it, aside from the sequel trilogy, because originally those were supposed to come out in the spring. But so far, with all the new stuff like Mandalorian season 2, that didn't get delayed at all because they were able to, they were able to have everything shot for the most part before the pandemic hit. But that's what I'm kind of worried about is, if things aren't closer to normal later on in the year than we need it to be.
Yeah.
But I think I'm confident that we'll hopefully see it at least before 2021 ends. At least they'll start releasing them, because I think they're going to do the week by week thing like they usually do.
I wonder if any of the shows will kind of bleed over,
Yeah.
Or are they going to be it to where we'll get every episode of like Book of Boba Fett, and then it'll be Kenobi time, then it'll be Ahsoka time, and then it'll be
awesome is if they did, like you're saying, they bleed over, and you'll get on Friday you'll get one episode of Kenobi and one episode of Book of Boba Fett.
That's kind of what it's like. That'd be kind of cool, is to be able to double feature each show, and they could cater some of those shows to play into the other ones. You're like, that was cool.
But I think from a business standpoint, I think to keep buzz going for longer, you do Book of Boba Fett first, and then you get into Kenobi, because that way you get Book of Boba Fett week by week. You have everybody talking about it is for the length of the series.
Yeah.
And then once that kind of dies down, then you get Kenobi in, and then Kenobi will keep buzz going for however many weeks. So yeah, cool. Well, what is next?
So up next, Hasbro announced a few new figures to add part of their Black Series, which are the collectible action figure line that Hasbro has. And in these, they are some unexpected picks. Actually, some of the stuff Hasbro announced. They announced a bunch of stuff on top of these Black Series figures, but the figures are a Sith Apprentice Darth Maul, a Jackson from the Legends comic, a Karner Jax from Crimson Empire, and a Luke Skywalker from Dark Empire. So it's some book characters. It's some iterations of characters that we've seen in novels and TV shows and comics and all that fun stuff. Each character is highly posable. Black Series, they're good action figure. They're like the $30 ones.
Yeah, but they're coming with like the really cool old like retro packaging with there's like a flip open cover, and you can see like a little character synopsis and like some
cool,
art on the inside of it. So
because I know they also have the vintage line, which
it's not gonna be the Kenner.
Okay, they're the special, special Black Series.
The old collectible action figures where there's like a panel you open up. Like a cardstock panel, and it has like a synopsis and has like art from the whatever property they're from. So like the comic book art or the book art. So it'll have that.
That's cool. Do we have the other stuff in here from it? I'm going to talk about the other stuff that was announced, the busts and there was a Boba Fett announced. Did we talk about that in the last episode?
I don't think so. There was a Boba Fett hot toy that we talked about, but it wasn't.
Oh, there's the hot toy. Yeah, so Hasbro also announced a Black Series. It was like a revamped Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, and it's like a special special edition you were talking about with like the panel, and like it's got the synopsis and all that, but it's Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. They also announced there was 3 new busts, and it was a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, a Rise of Skywalker Palpatine when he's got like the red and like the Sith robes on him, and then a Rebels Maul, and so it's a bust in the Rebels animation of Maul, and he's got the scarf and the half blade that he's got, the Inquisitor blade and whatnot.
I love that Maul look.
I think those. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites too. That older one where the lightsaber's the cane and he just looks old and decrepit, but he's not.
I love Grandpa Maul. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's cool. I definitely want to start getting some Black Series figures. Get some together. Yeah,
that way you can keep them in a box until you have a place to put them.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that'll be cool. If I can get my hands on them eventually, they'll make a nice addition to my collection back here behind me.
I think of the ones that were announced, of the big ones. I kind of want the Luke Skywalker one, the Dark Empire one.
You got to get the Jackson one.
I also will definitely get the Jackson
to.
one too.
You
His name's
definitely
not
have
spelled
to.
the same, but like I will also get the Jackson one.
Cool. Well, it looks like ILM released another VFX breakdown for The Mandalorian Season 2. The video kind of gives a glimpse of all the variety of VFX work that they did on Season 2, and especially the big crate dragon from Chapter 9, The Marshal. And the amount of work that goes into making this stuff look so good is insane, and I will never understand how talented some of these people are.
The amount of like detail layering that they do, that's what got me, was the amount of just like added little things that just added the amount of detail to it. Smoke, sparks, dust being
like
carried.
A blockbuster, like a $25 million budget film. I said that as if it's a big budget. That's not. I mean, a $200 million film. But yeah, and then it also is kind of revealed that the Moff Gideon cruiser is a miniature, just like the Razor Crest was, which I think,
that's cool. Those are always cool. Like,
it makes it feel very organic.
Classic.
Whenever you use miniatures, because that's kind of how, whenever you think of Star Wars and like the movement of the ships, they're always very, I don't want to say stilted, but you can tell they're kind of a miniature, but that's kind of the charm of Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what works so well with that. I didn't even notice, honestly, until I watched
I didn't notice with his too. Yeah. And I love his design too, with his, like the middle hangar bay that's kind of replicates like a Venator, but it still looks like a, what's their light cruiser called? And the Imperial light cruisers, they were like in Rebels a lot.
Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the actual technical name of them.
Does it start with an R? Something like that. I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then we also see that like those Imperial tanks from The Mandalorian, those were like partially built, like built to scale, which is, it's so cool to see them actually like build that kind of stuff, because you see in the Phantom Menace, those like droid ships, the brown ones that have like the big like disc on the bottom.
Yeah.
Those were
my cousin had a Lego set of those.
Yeah, those were actually built life size out of styrofoam for the Phantom Menace. So I love whenever they incorporate real physical, set pieces for these kind of things. Especially, I think it helps the actors too. I mean, you would probably rather interact
scale,
with a real vehicle than a green screen object.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, cool. What is next?
This one's, I don't know why we keep trying to have this conversation. Kevin Feige confirms no involvement with any Star Wars Disney Plus series. The man just works for Marvel. Can he just work for Marvel?
I know.
Like, if something good is coming, why do we have to say it's someone else who did it? Because Kevin Feige has good stuff under his belt doesn't mean that he's responsible for all the good things happening on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and like I've said before, Disney would have no logical reason at all to hide the fact that Feige would be producing anything they're doing, because he has such a great track record and everybody loves him. Why would you not announce to the world that Kevin Feige is involved in this Disney Plus show?
Right? You wouldn't. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And let me also say, just because Kathleen Kennedy has mixed reviews under her belt does not mean that she's also producing really awesome stuff.
And there's like this whole online cult dedicated to hating Kathleen Kennedy, which I'm just, it's just laughable how seriously people take that.
I know.
Get over yourself, you little man baby.
She's ruining Star Wars.
Kathleen Kennedy and the feminists ruined Star Wars.
We must stop her.
We must stop the feminists in Star Wars.
They're gonna get the band together to stop Kathleen Kennedy from making good cinema.
Yeah, even though Kathleen Kennedy could produce circles around anybody.
Yeah, right? Has been producing circles around everybody.
Yeah, she is like one of the best producers in the industry right now. I mean, we are lucky to have her in control of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that conversation it's time to get over it, everybody. He's already confirmed to produce one of the Star Wars films. What more do you need? He's got the whole cinematic
time
universe.
to use our critical thinking skills.
He's got the whole Marvel cinematic universe on his shoulders right now.
He's like, I've got work to do. Will you leave me alone about Star Wars?
I don't think he's going to remake the sequel trilogy like everybody is speculating that he's doing. God, I hate people. All right. Well, I think we have one more big story this week, and that is, this was just announced that there is going to be a Star Wars Visions novel, like an original novel. It's not going to be tied into the show that's coming out at any point, but it's inspired by Star Wars Visions, coming out with Del Rey Books, of course. And there's not really that much about it that we know. It's going to be called Ronin. It's going to be coming out October 12th. You know, we've always talked about how excited we are for Visions, so it'll be exciting once we start getting more information about the show. It'll be cool to see it revealed to us what this kind of novel is going to be. But this is what Del Rey has said. They have said, just to be clear, this is not a novelization, like an adaptation of the show. This is an original novel, and to tell it, we're so thrilled to have a vibrant new voice in Emma Miko Candon joining the Star Wars author family. We can't wait to share more of Emma's story with you soon. So they have an author, they have, the story,
the title,
and the title.
It's kind of like the Road to Force Awakens. It's like that book line they did, which Lost Stars was part of.
And also, they've just said that Visions is coming out in 2021. They didn't say a date or anything, so Visions could very well come out before this too. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's cool. New book.
That's what I'm saying. That's cool.
That's cool. I'm down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wish there was more to speculate on it.
I wish we had a cover.
Yeah, I really want to start once the art starts rolling out for Star Wars Visions. I'm gonna get really excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I agree.
It would be cool to see if they do some, because they're incorporating like 10 different artists to produce Star Wars Visions. It would be cool to see an episode in like the style of like the old Clone Wars.
That would be cool.
But like set like post sequel era.
Pays homage to
yeah, that would be super cool to see.
That would be fun.
What are some animation styles that you would want to see in this show?
I would love to see a bounty hunter episode in the Cowboy Bebop style. I think that would, or like a lightsaber fight in like the Dragon Ball Z style, where it's all like, big auras of energy and people screaming, but it'd be like a really cool lightsaber fight, like a force fight.
That'd be really cool. Give me SpongeBob SquarePants in space.
Give me Jimmy Neutron in space.
Yeah. Even though we kind of have the first season of Clone Wars, that'll do it.
That will do it.
Well, that was kind of our news rundown. It actually went a little shorter than I thought it was going to, but that's okay. We had a lot of news. We kind of dove through it, but we like to have these little discussions after our news coverage just to kind of get ourselves critically thinking about Star Wars and what we love about Star Wars. So I kind of wanted to dive in to some of our favorite droids that we love. I know there's literally thousands of them in the Star Wars canon and legends. Too many. But Jackson, to you, what do you think is your favorite / the most interesting droid design?
I think interesting droid designs are definitely like astromech droids, and like I definitely the like new trilogy astromechs, like the BB-8 styles and whatnot.
The BB
I like
units,
yeah. I like the outside of the box, style of a robot rather than just kind of a humanoid figure. That being said, one of my favorite droids ever is IG-88. And I just love how assassin droids look. I just think they're really menacing and cool.
Except for IG-11 is a nurse droid. Don't get it twisted.
He is a saint to this universe.
Yeah. I do like the astromech look a lot. I think design-wise, one of my favorite droids is probably Dio from The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
I just love the little hairdryer on a wheel. I love it. But I think if we talk interesting. I just think there's so much to love about like the 3PO style protocol droids.
Simplistic.
It's so simplistic, but it's also like what people in the 1970s would expect the future to look like. And it's like there's something really charming about that.
It's exactly what a protocol droid would look like, you know, kind of this sleek metal. It's just kind of like a waiter.
Yeah, and you know, they have like that style, and there's also like the AP5 style, like from Rebels.
Yeah.
So those are cool.
I always thought the design of droidicas were really interesting because like
spiders.
What are those? You know, and they emit a force field. Like that's cool, I guess.
I just had the dumbest thought.
What?
You know what they kind of remind me of? And there's like not really a correlation in the appearance, but just like the vibe.
The what?
The thumbs in Spy Kids.
Oh no! Do you want to hear an interesting story? When I was in high school, I didn't have a beard, I didn't have any glasses, and I have I guess I got my neck and like face just kind of, I guess, mold into one. It's like a weird double chin. I don't really have a jawline. Yeah, unless I have the beard. All through high school, I was called Thumb and like the thumb.
Oh, that's not nice.
I mean, like not like in like a. I mean, yeah, I guess in a. In a way
degrading
of
way.
It was like between the friend group that like we all like made fun of each other, you know, and it was
as
like
long as they were laughing with you, not at you.
Yeah, we were all laughing together, but then there were definitely times where it was like I'm not a thumb, and then I'd get glasses and I was like the thumb days are over. It was like it's gone.
Now the thumb can see better.
I also kind of hate that I understand what you're talking about with the droidicas.
Just the vibe.
I think it's the way that they stand, how it's very wide exactly to walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I hate that.
If you had to own a droid, what droid would you have?
Gonk. No, I'm kidding. I probably what are the little the like service droids that like are in episode 1 and Mandalorian, yeah.
Oh, just flick the eye.
Little helper droid, yeah. Those are cute.
We're Star Wars fans, so we should probably know the names of these droids.
Yeah,
but there's
right.
So many.
The little one. Yeah, good lord, there's so many.
Yeah, I think I would probably definitely want an R2 unit.
I always want to go to. I think I'm supposed to go to Galaxy's Edge. I think probably later this year. If not, I'll go eventually in my life.
I want an astromech.
I know. I want to build a little astromech. I want a little R2.
Also, a protocol droid wouldn't be too bad because, like, they're just like a bud whenever they're not, you know,
they're just chilling,
translating things for you or anything like that.
Do you think like Padme and 3PO like gossip together? Like, Padme would come home from a Senate hearing and be like, 3PO, did you watch the news? And he's like, I have the tea made. Like,
oh yeah, 3PO wants all the tea, dude. 3PO wants to get in on the tea.
He's like, R2 taught me how to gossip.
Yeah. Because I'm sure 3PO gossips to R2.
And R2's like, I really don't care. He's like, I don't want to hear this.
See, 3PO like gets in on all the Senate drama and like, oh my god, did you see what she was wearing today? Ugh. In that color, I don't think so, sister. Yeah. I think I would definitely want a astromech. But speaking of astromech, I think a very underrated droid just in the entire saga is Chopper from Rebels.
I'm a mixed bag about Chopper.
I love Chopper.
I mean, like, yeah, it's Chop, but like Chop also is trying to murder the gang every 5 minutes. And at one point you're like, hey man, same team.
Yeah. But it's just funny that for the longest time, Dave Filoni would never tell anybody who voiced Chopper. And then, like, I think it was a couple months after the series finale, he finally said that he was the one who voiced Chopper.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
It's that menacing laugh that he has, and he gets the little claws. Yeah.
What are some other droids that you like?
I know when like Revenge of the Sith came out, I thought like the Magna Guards were really cool. General Grievous's guards.
The IG-100 Magna Guard.
Yeah, and I didn't think they were that. They weren't all that scary until Mandalorian, but like super battle droids. It's that shot in the season finale of season 1 for
where he's in,
Mandalorian,
like,
when it's like the flashback and it's the super battle droid opening the thing. Like, God, it's just so huge and so menacing. And
I think it's the way it's shot too.
Yeah, I just love how like updated modern cinema can show these things that we've known for a while. Just re-show how scary and cool they can be. Yeah,
I think B1 battle droids have a soft spot in my heart.
The classics.
Because that, like, they're kind of useless. Like, they're just, and a lot of them you can tell, like, they don't know they're bad. They're just kind of,
they're just programmed. Things. Yeah, they're just doing what they're programmed to do. They're just chilling.
It would have been a kind of a cool arc in Clone Wars, like a defected B1 battle droid. Like one that like somehow the programming got messed up, and
that's like what's the episode of it where Rebels, when they go to the old Separatist base and all of the droids still think that the war is going on.
Yeah.
And then it's over and they're just kind of like, they're like, what do we do? You know,
we were literally built to fight the war.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that would be cool. What was I just going to say? What were we just talking about? Oh, I can't believe you didn't like the droid arc.
Not my thing. I don't know.
I thought it grew on me.
It did get better when Gregor showed up, and we get his arc of.
I think the last two of that arc are what kind of. I think they're the best of the arc and what make it a good arc, quote unquote.
Because like we've never really seen before that. We had never really seen a clone that didn't know they were a clone.
Yeah.
And Gregor's like, "What are you? I'm not a clone. What's a clone?
I'm just talking a dude.
About? Yeah,
this suit of armor. Yeah, I just own this, man. I just found it."
And how like brainwashed he is by the Walmart brand Dexter.
Oh yeah,
the Great Value Dexter,
Sandpit and Dexter.
Gregor's a dishwasher, like Yaddle. Yeah.
He's like, I knew a little green person who was really good at this once.
Oh my gosh, that's Yaddle. We just wrapped up Yaddle's arc right there. Yaddle's the one who trained Gregor, and Gregor is low-key a Jedi. Yeah, that's it. That's
a master in the dishwashing arts.
Like
that's
Yaddle
horrible.
Also became.
I hate how
Yaddle became brainwashed as well by the Great Value Dexter. And instead of forgetting that Yaddle's a Jedi,
is he a hypnotist?
No, instead of Gregor forgetting that he's a clone, Yaddle forgets that she's a Jedi. So she thinks she's actually just a master dishwasher and has to train her young Padawans.
She just thinks she's got really cool superpowers that only work for dishes.
Oh yeah, she uses the Force and everything, but she thinks it's just for dishes.
It's just for washing dishes.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of speaking of the prequels, the Troon Tan B machine. Ooh-bah. Kind of like the mother droid in Revenge of the Sith. I love her so much. I
literally was thinking about it earlier when you first messaged me about like droid conversations. I was like, "What droids are in my head?" And I had that one
Isn't
stuck.
It weird
and I was
how quickly that one comes to mind.
I was like, I don't want to think about it. I was like, I don't want to bring it up. I want actual answers.
Oh man, that's an actual answer. Are you kidding me? Are you devalidating?
It's got like big baby holding paws,
and they're warmers, so like they feel like human skin.
Just go in. And, oh my god!
I love it. Ooh-bah. Yes, that's my favorite quote from the Revenge of the Sith. By the way,
is Padme screaming bloody murder in the back while the droid's just trying to calm her.
Ooh-bah.
Ooh-bah.
Is she doing that because like that's how she wants Padme to breathe? As they say ooh, like in and out?
I think she's just kind of like calm, ooh-bah, like ooh, and Padme's, I don't know, just
like dying, casually.
Dying, yeah. She's lost the will to live.
This is kind of getting off track, but do you think that Padme actually lost the will to live?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do you think there was something medical going on there?
I mean, like, I definitely think a broken trachea can also affect your your birth giving skills. So I could also see a lack of airflow being a reasonable reason. But yes, I think Padme shattered of a broken heart of seeing her one and only love, just be this monster. And
well, that's actually like a thing. You can actually technically die of a broken heart.
Dude, I was here when Carrie Fisher died, and like a week later, her mom died of a broken heart.
Yeah. Like,
that stuff's crazy.
Stress can actually weigh on your body physically so much that it can just shut down and kill you.
The amount of grief can just destroy you.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Ooh-bah. Ooh-bah.
That's going to be our intro now. Sorry,
That's
guys.
Horrible.
But I think that is our episode this week. I think we had a great droid conversation with all the oobahs and the chopper noises. But guys, thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Through Imperialized Pod and Twitter at Imperialized Pod. And if you do the YouTube machine, you can search us up through Imperialized Podcast. We should pop up there. Jackson, where can they find you on your socials?
You can find me on Twitter at Quaxon Scalene. That's QUACKSON and Scalene like the triangle. And then you can follow my photography Instagram at Deleen_photography. Deleen is spelled DALEEN. That was an equilateral triangle too.
Oh yeah. Well, guys, you can find me as always on Instagram at Braden Ledbetter and on Twitter at Bradathlon. And guys, I will say this every episode. I cannot stress enough how absolutely vitally important it is for you to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And Flash, if you don't have access to Apple Podcasts, you can follow us on Spotify. That also really, really helps out the show.
You're going to hear me throw something in the bag that just said, leave us a review!
You heard the man. Leave us a review, please. And also, we haven't been doing this recently, but I think we're going to get back into calling for questions for these episodes. But please send us...
But don't be shy, too.
Yeah, stop being shy. Why is everybody so shy around here? We have a lot of followers. Come on, guys. But if you have a question or a topic idea you want us to talk about, shoot us a DM, tweet us, add us, comment on our YouTube stuff, whatever you want to do, because we're always accepting that kind of stuff. And we do listen to you guys. We do answer all questions and answer anything that comes our way. So please do that. And please be sure to stay tuned for this weekend because we're talking Attack of the Clones with another guest. I'm excited for that one because that is probably the lowest ranking Star Wars film on my list, at least. I don't know about you, Jackson.
It's not the lowest ranking. I don't know what, probably Rise of Skywalker, but we won't talk about that now.
Well, cool.
I like Attack of the Clones, so it'll be fun.
It'll be fun to have a positive discussion about even something that's low on my list. So, yeah, but until then, ooh-bah, ooh-bah.